I'm not sure how we're going to keep this episode clean without the bleep machine, to be honest. A very, very frustrating week for QPR. Less than 3 weeks ago, we were top of the league, and that's already starting to feel a long, long time ago. 4 games without a win now, losing 2 home games in a row against the bottom two. It's just not good enough, is it, Dave?
No, it's been a bad 2 weeks, hasn't it? I mean, I thought we kind of turned a corner again a bit against Norwich when I thought we played quite well at Norwich last week. But the last two has just been so disappointing. It's so QPR and it to lose to we've done so well against the top sides and then to lose to the two bottom teams. But it's the performances that worry me a bit. I just in both boxes we were so poor in both these last 2 games. The final ball was poor a lot of the time. They weren't. We had loads of shots last night against Huddersfield, but we didn't create. I didn't think we created a lot of chances. A lot of them from long range, weren't they? And defensively, just not putting bodies on the line, are they? We're so easy to score against. I think, especially from set pieces. That's really got to change, and it comes down to players' mentality, really, more than the manager. Similar problems last year as well. It's not been a good week.
No, definitely not. So a few of the points there that you've just spoke about, we'll go into a bit more detail on. And I just found that, especially against West Brom, it was just so flat and uninspiring. And for a team so high in the league that should be confident and, like you say, after the Norwich result, it just didn't seem to follow on. And I spoke in last week's show about us finding it hard to play now against teams who are coming with a plan to stop QPR. I mean, it's flattering that teams are having to do that, but are they finding it a bit too easy to stop us?
Yeah, West Brom, we started so slow, didn't we? They were on top for the first 15, 20 minutes. And you can't let bottom of the league sides. I know West Brom are probably not a bottom of the league team, but you can't let them just come and dictate from the start. You've got to impose a game on them. Football was always chasing the game in that one. And even last night, when we started well, we scored in the first minute, but then they just seemed to fade away. And I thought we just, like you said, made it too easy for them, really.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and don't forget as well, not only were they bottom of the league, they were actually a really depleted side as well. Most of their squad numbers were in the 30s. And you said it before, it is a typical QPR kind of result. And we all kind of joke about it, don't we? Oh, we're going to lose to the teams at the bottom of the thing. But it's not funny, really. It's a shambles to lose that game. It really is. And if we want to achieve anything, we cannot be 1-0 up against a team who's bottom of the table and throw it away, can we?
No, that was a terrible result last night. Just before we scored, we should have conceded in the first 10 seconds, really. But when we went one up, I thought we got a bit cocky and arrogant and just went, game's won, how many we're going to win by. And it's all right for us in the stands to say that, but the players can't be thinking that. They've just got to go and finish it off like they did against Cardiff. Just be ruthless, finish the game in the first half. But no, they let Huddersfield back in it and didn't really seem to know what to do to get back in it. So we had so many shots and chances last night, but the amount of times we got the ball wide and the choice they made was the wrong one. It was either a poor cross or there was an easy pass on and they tried to take someone on. It was so frustrating to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying there's so many chances, 36 shots, but I have to be honest, I think maybe 3/4 of them were just really poor crosses that were marked down by the stats people as shots or something because it didn't feel like 36 shots. I want to mention Ilias Chair at this point because I felt like he was involved in everything. He kind of involved in every move. He was always linked in somewhere, but not in a good way. He was like making the wrong choices. There was a missed hit shot as well. I mean, he's 110% committed, but I almost think, is he like trying too hard? Is he because he's the captain or he's now 13 games without a goal? Something not quite sitting right with him?
He definitely tried too hard last night. I think he does a lot. If things aren't going well, he'll just think, right, I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to be the one to pull them out here. And at times you just think, just play your normal game and you'll be fine. Quite like last night, he pushed Tim out of the way, didn't he, when he was just in front of the goal and then he mishit the shot anyway. He just seemed so desperate to do something. At points, it was like, just let someone else take the corners and free kicks. You're hitting the first man every time. Just let someone else have a go. But it's good that he obviously cares and he's doing his best. But yeah, I found his performance really frustrating last night. He got in so many good positions and then kind of nothing come from it too often.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard one because we're not really criticizing him. It's just he just needs to let his game flow. He's dropping too deep to try and force things, and then it's not his natural game. Then is it? You're trying to make it force it, and it just doesn't work. Like you said as well, set pieces have been are undoing both the games. What do you think is going wrong there? I mean, they've obviously made a big deal of having a set piece coach. Are they maybe guilty of overthinking it rather than just fighting to win the ball and clear it or something?
I think attacking wise, just the delivery's been poor the last 2 games, really poor. Maybe we've missed Johansson because he hasn't played and he's been quite good from corners. But you can't, I mean, the amount of times we get the first man, both on Saturday and again last night, you're never going to score if you keep doing that. It needs to mix up a bit. But defensively is a bigger problem, I think. All season and even last season, the second phase, they cleared the first ball and then goals are going in straight away. Blackburn opening day of the season did it. Last night, both goals was just not clearing the ball properly, and then just not reacting. Part of it must come down to coaching and what you do on the training field, but a lot of it has got to be the players. You've got to want to throw your body in front of things. They were when we played Millwall and Sheffield United recently. They were doing that. They were fighting for everything and just blocking everything out. They did not do that the last 2 games. I don't know if it's got a bit ahead of themselves and a bit too cocky after going top the other week, or maybe fitness issues. I'm not sure, but you can't defend like that and win games. You just can't.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to pretend to know anything about coaching football or anything, but I just don't think it's that hard to say to one of the players, you're not man marking. All you're doing is tracking the ball, and you've got to try and be the first one to when it comes down for the second ball. It's not rocket science that I could see, and I think Seny Dieng was a bit culpable on the second goal for my liking. I mean, the defenders didn't particularly do that much wrong there. I mean, you could try and block his shot, but the guy shouldn't be like able to hook it in and it drop in the net from there, should he? For me, Dieng should have been on his line just catching it.
Yeah, definitely. Same as the Birmingham goal. I mean, I think last night's he meant it a lot more than the Birmingham one, but yeah, you can't get beat from there. I know he likes to come out and claim crosses, but once the first one's gone, you've got to just drop back a bit. But I think a positive of this is these are fixable problems. You can defend at a set piece, you can work on that in training, you can get better at that. It's not, the issue isn't that they're just simply not good enough. We know they're good enough, but maybe this break's going to come at a good time for them to maybe work on a few things over the next few weeks.
Yeah, touch wood. I mean, I think it is going to be a break coming at the right time for us, even if we can pick up points against Coventry, which we're going to look at now. I still think the break's going to come at a good time for us, even if we win. I mean, I hope the players are as upset about that result as we are, because obviously it's now a very tough match against Coventry. I don't actually think we could have a tougher match in the league right now. They're second in the form table. 3 weeks ago, they were 21 places behind us. We were top. They were in the bottom 3. And now they're just 6 places behind us. 5 points behind with 2 games in hand. They could technically be above us. How quickly things can change in this league. And it's, like I say, looking like an incredibly tricky match on paper. They've won 3 in a row without conceding. They have 8 clean sheets in the last 11, which sounds ominous when we're talking about our struggles in front of goal. Yeah. Wigan couldn't even get a shot on target in their midweek match. Were they always in a false position all along, Dave?
I think so. They were a lot of games behind, weren't they? Because of their stadium issues. And obviously with the Queen and that, they were about 4 or 5 games in hand. But they weren't a bad side last year, were they? They faded a bit like us towards the end and ended up mid-table. But yeah, I think they were definitely in a false position. I think they'll be about halfway again this year. And like I said, they're on a really good run. It's not an easy game, we have I think we've got a mixed record there, haven't we, at Coventry? But yeah, you probably couldn't ask for a tougher game, especially the form we're in.
Yeah. You're right about Coventry. Whether they can push towards the top 6 is another question. They've got a very solid kind of team at this level, haven't they? And of course, we won both matches last season when we didn't really deserve to win either of them. And I imagine Mark Robbins will remember that too, only, and be motivating him with that.
Yeah, definitely. I went there to the away game last year, and I don't know how we won that game. We were awful on the day and managed to get a win out of it. We're going to need to play well. Hopefully, we're going to get a reaction from them. The players, a lot of them looked pretty devastated at the end of the game last night. By the look of Beale, I think they might have got a bit of a rollicking after the game as well. He looked furious. So you'd hope you'll see a reaction this weekend. I hope so anyway.
Yeah, hopefully. But I mean, they've beaten Blackburn and Watford both 1-0 recently as well. So this is a match that we're just heading into, and I've got major doubts about it. I mean, from a QPR point of view, first and foremost, I have to say again, having no Stefan Johansson, it's having a big impact, isn't it?
Yeah, we really miss him. He's not always at his best, Johansson, but he's an experienced player in the middle. He helps to start the press as well. He pushes up the pitch. I think we've really missed him the last couple of games, and I don't think it's a coincidence. Since he got his injury, the form's tailed off a lot. I think he's a massive player for us, especially with set pieces as well. And yeah, he's not back, is he? He's out after the World Cup, isn't he? So yes, yeah, we're going to miss him.
Yeah, I think they've made the right decision to give him until after the World Cup. There was no trying to rush him back for a game, but like you say, we do miss him. And an odd one in midweek as well, I thought, because you'd have assumed Dazelle was going to start. He was involved, obviously, to replace Amos at the weekend, and then doesn't even get off the bench. It brings me on to my next question, really, about I don't want to go in hard on Beale. He's been very honest in his interviews about why we lost, and he's obviously as angry as we are. But I have been a little bit confused about some of his choices and subs, especially on the subs, really. I mean, on Saturday, he brings on Armstrong in added time. Midweek, he's not even on the bench. Thomas was back on the bench on Saturday, nowhere to be seen on Tuesday. I just mentioned Dazelle. He was the choice to come on for Amos on Saturday. Seemed the obvious choice, didn't even get off the bench. Macaulay Bonne wasn't on the bench on Saturday, but is on Tuesday. None of it's adding up to me. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I found the subs very strange the last two games. West Brom Saturday, it was clear we needed something else up front. Armstrong should have been on at least with 20 minutes to go, just to run at them and cause a bit of chaos. But it was just too easy for him on Saturday. And time we come on, it seemed a complete waste of time. And, I love Albert Adoma, but I thought that was a bit of an odd choice to start him last night. I agree with you. I thought we would have started Dazelle because it was kind of a change of shape as well. I've found some of the decisions in the last week a bit odd, but I think he's probably got enough credit in the bank, can he, for now?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We wouldn't. There'd be no point us doing a show though if we didn't talk about these things, wouldn't there?
Yeah.
We have to question it. Moving on to Chris Willock. I know he got an assist last night, but he doesn't look quite right, does he?
No, he doesn't look fit, really, does he? He's coming back off that injury. I'm imagine he'll play at the weekend because they need a result there, really, doesn't they? But yeah, he doesn't look right. I think that break's coming at a good time for him as well. Get himself back and ready in 3 or 4 weeks' time when we restart.
Yeah, I think the plan with him was probably maybe to get ahead in the games, maybe be 2 up or something, and then take him off at the hour.
Yeah.
And it's not worked out like it, and he's ended up doing 80 minutes at least and full 90 on Saturday, wasn't it? He does look dangerous when he gets it, but then he just seems to drift off the game, and you don't even know he's on the pitch anymore. It's been a little bit strange with him, and he's maybe just cautious of sprinting, I think. He doesn't look like he wants to accelerate away, does he?
Yeah, I think that's probably a big part of it. If he does it again, he could be out for even longer this time. So he's probably been a bit cautious with the injury.
Want to touch on Jimmy Dunn as well because we've talked about the set pieces before. Mick Beale said in his interview last night after the game that he was going to look at the Sheffield United and Millwall matches and see how we were defending set pieces so well in those games. For me, I think a part of that is Jimmy Dunn because he's the defender who just his goal is just I want to win that first header. So can you think he's going to come back in, especially if Balogun is out injured?
Yeah, definitely. I think he'll definitely start on Saturday. I think he'll probably be in for Balogun when injured, didn't he, say? So I imagine he'll come in. Dickey played at the weekend, but he was poor, I thought. So I imagine he'll go with Clark-Sawyer, who he really likes, and Dunn. I think we have missed Dunn the last couple of games. Like you say, he just does basic defending well, and you need that in your team. It's not all about bringing the ball out and passing from the back. You need to defend your goal. That's your first job. And Dunn does that really well. And I thought he did well when he came on last night.
Absolutely, yeah. And we didn't concede with him on the pitch, did we? And I do think he is one of the factors of why we were defending set piece as well and why it's gone away a little bit. Yes, he's not as progressive with the ball and he can knock one straight out for a goal kick when he tries a long ball. But then when there's a corner at our end, he's going to be the first head on it. So I think he'll justify his place. Moving on from the players and just QPR overall right now, I suppose the word is faltering, but we're still not even at the halfway stage. We're still in the mix, and we know that you said it before. We can put it right. There's plenty of time. But do you worry a little bit that there's a mental hangover from last season with the recent result?
Yeah, I think the results and performances, they've reminded me of a lot of last season, a lot of the same problems they've got. And I think Bill's quite wary of that. I think he said all along he wants to just make sure we're around the top 6 in March for the international break there, and then have a good go in the last 8 games, which I think is the right approach. But I do think he's probably going to shake things up a little bit now when it comes to January, because there's a few there that are still making the same mistakes as last year, and there's quite a few fringe players that aren't really doing it. I wouldn't be surprised to see quite a few changes in January, a few maybe going out on loan and a few coming in. But I think we're in a reasonable spot. We've been poor the last couple of games, but I didn't expect us to be top 6 at this stage. We might not be after Saturday, of course, but I think we've had a pretty good start. There's a lot to build on there, isn't there?
Oh yeah, it is. Like I say, we're still 6th place. I don't quite know how we stayed 6th, but we are. I just worry that it seems to me once something's expected of us, we can't cope. When nobody's really looking at us, we go 8 games unbeaten. But as soon as people start to go, oh, look at QPR, they can go second with a win tonight. We go and lose the next 3 or 4, and then we disappear out of the picture. Hopefully, we can turn the tide. Whether that's going to be at Coventry or not, let's have the final word on that. I'll say straight away, I don't see us scoring, and I do think Coventry are going to win relatively comfortable, something like 2-0. Am I being too negative?
Yeah, it's going to be all right. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. I think you'll see a reaction. I think you'll see a much better performance. I hope we win, but I think we'll get something out of the game. I'll go a draw, but I think it'll be better on Saturday. I'm positive for it. And we haven't got one next week, so I can't look silly next week.
I mean, it would be nice to take a victory into the break. And I think if we do win, it's going to be a hard slog of a game. It's not going to be anything comfortable, is it? But whatever happens at Coventry, I hope everyone watching enjoys the break. I sense we will all need the break come 5 p.m. on Saturday. Hopefully it will be 3 points as we go into the month off, and we can all be positive. Either way, we'll see you in December, and come on you R's.
We know who we are. You know who we are. We are QPR.